Good evening, everybody. I wanted to make a quick video for you folks about my thoughts on stick structures. This is something that's often considered like circumstantial evidence or things that tend to occur in areas that have a lot of Sasquatch encounters and sightings. This is completely circumstantial evidence in the sense that unless you see a Sasquatch physically building one of these structures, you cannot definitively say that they made it. This one pictured in front of you here is really great because it's got the branches on the ground, the logs on the ground intertwined with each other. The two Ys up in the tree are broken off and stuck together. It goes off to the left up there and it's weaved through trees. You don't see any stumps, like these things naturally just fell over. They look like they were carried from a distance. And I think that's really important when you're looking at one of these things. And also the size and weight of the logs. Could one guy do this? Could two or three people do this? Would they need heavy machinery? Are they dried out? Is it still wet wood? This is all stuff that you got to look at when you're out in the field. So here's another great one from Southern California. You can see this burnt charred log, and this one was found here, and nowhere around was it evident where this log came from a recent fire, which we have fires all the time in Southern California, a man-made fire, but it was a big, heavy, huge log pressed against this small tree in an area that has had Sasquatch encounters. So for me, this would be a possibility, or definitely gets you to scratch your head and think, what created this? So this is another really good example of a tree structure or oddity. Now here's a great one I would consider inconclusive. Broken, 8-10 feet up in the air, but trees die, they get loaded with snow, wind happens, things break. And it's very inconclusive if this is particularly something intentional. Maybe it's pointing at water, maybe it's pointing at a cave. That might be a slight clue that something made it, but for me this would be very inconclusive, and I would probably, if I was on a trail, look at this and go, huh, and then keep walking, because there's just so inconclusive to what or why it was made. Then you encounter things like this that look like they might be some kind of a hunting blind, maybe halfway constructed, not quite finished. And then you have other certain strange X formations like this, and big giant X's that almost seem to be territory markers. There seems to be a large variety of different things people find out there. I'm sure some are man-made, some are kids, some probably are Bigfoot related, marking territories, pointing towards rivers, hunting blinds, who knows? And then you have these big structures like this. If there's some kind of a shelter, it's really hard to tell what exactly their usage and if it was man-made or not. If it's smaller sticks and really intricate, I tend to think it's man-made. So for me, the biggest point of all this is it's circumstantial evidence. It's definitely interesting to look at. There's probably a variety of reasons for hunting, shelter, signaling, boredom. Who knows why Sasquatch could potentially do this kind of stuff. I think a lot of it is humans or natural fall that's just kind of a freak accident. But I do think there are certain ones that scream intelligence, very large, heavy logs that really couldn't be done by humans without equipment. And I think, like I said, also, it's all about context. Are there Sasquatch sightings in the area? Have you had encounters there? What are the historical markers of this area? What's the name of it? Is it like Ape Canyon or Devil's Gulch or something like that? That might insinuate that there's some kind of cryptozoological activity going on. These are all things you have to consider before saying that this is probable Sasquatch behavior. The other thing too is X's marking certain spots or trail points or tree breaks pointing towards water consistently, or a cave or something like that have been noted by researchers. So you just kind of got to just dissect and not think that every tree break in the woods is caused by Bigfoot. We have to think about this stuff critically. And that's pretty much what I consider the different categories in my ideas about stick structures.